beautiful morning to our audiences. Today we are going to the art capital of the Philippines, Angono, Rizal. And as we proceed, we are here to interview a known local governance expert and environmentalist who served the League of Municipalities of the Philippines as its Secretary General and Assistant Secretary of the DNR for the local government and Executive Director for the National Waste Management Commission of the Office of the President. He led the municipal of Angono as mayor for almost 19 years and now for almost 9 years of vice president. An alumni of 1984 from Far Eastern University and took the course of Bachelor of Arts in Communications. Ladies and gentlemen, Group 2 presents to you the Vice Mayor of Angono, Mr. Gerardo P. Calderon.
Good day po, Sir Calderon. Thank you for allowing us to interview with you. And before we start, let me reinstate na po na this interview is solely for our subject and leadership. And we won't be using the information you will give us to other things po. And just to clarify, i-upload ko namin to sa YouTube. So, and if you would like to have some infos or clips on the video that will be uploaded, and we will gladly do so. You can just tell us. So, let's start asking questions. Are you ready?
Ready na po.
So, yung first question po namin is, can you describe your journey toward becoming a public servant in the municipality of Angono?
Hindi ko alam na magiging mayor ako. What my plan is to finish my tertiary education and present this to my mother. At yung FEU is my choice. At I finished communication art in 1984. At during my last year, merong election na kamadaan barangay. And rally-rally nun sa Manila eh. Matapos na ako, nag-cross si Menjola, may practicum in Hotel Mirador, that radio program of Patuloy Valencia. Antala yung pag-aaral ko. Then, participate na lang muna ako sa Angono instead of involving in any protest. Rather stay in my Angono at kasi nung sumasama kami sa protesta ron, parang walang katapos ang protesta. So alam mo may pinaglalaban nga lang, my choice is to participate in an electoral process known as Tika Bataan Barangay that time. Dahil may problema din yung aming community. Which is which? The problem of our county in Menjola, joining rally, or the problem of my community na merong divided na kabataan. So I participated in that election, di kabataan barangay, and nanalo naman po. Then, natapos ko ang aking communication art, at kasabay nun, ay nag-servisyo ako sa bayan. The rest is, I was elected after my term sa Bataan Barangay, born as #1 councilor in 1988. And from there, I was appointed that 4H Club, a leadership organization of the Department of Agriculture, and learn a lot of things about community organizing that bridging that community organizing process is sponsored by Bureau of Agricultural Extension. They sponsored us to attend the community organizing process in University of the Philippines Institute Pacific Forum. At the community organizing process, it influenced my tool for leadership and organizing. Then after that, I ran as independent vice mayor. Pero noong 1998, my time for me to run as a mayor. And that is, the rest is history.
Galing po. So, yung first naman po natin what you said, you related naman to people, leadership din. Tapos bata pa lang kayo, parang ka-experience na agad kayo sa leadership and parang natulak ko sa inyo is yung lead po na community to run.
Isa yung message sa pulso eh. Yung PR is doing good and let the people know about it. Sinago ko yung style ng politics sa amin. Samahan mo, tulungan mo, anong agency yung may kailangan sila, hospital, samahan mo. Doon ko nakita madali mag-servisyo. So, the learning lesson I learned as a communication undergraduate from the Far Eastern University ay napaka-basic nung kailangan lang gawa ka na mabuti. Then, turuan mo sila, theory mo kung ano yung gusto. Then, it serves with that force of developing a mission.
It's a very colorful journey po towards your leadership. So the second question is, what changes you made in your community while taking your decision? Ang nagpipit lang po ito kanina.
Alam mo yung aming bayan, kung may kalsada lang before, I became a mayor dito eh. Yung mga tinatawag ng mga known road. Pero noong ako po ay lumaki po ako sa isa namin. Sinisipulan po yung mga babae. Nagiinom po sa kali yung mga tao. Ayoko po nung ganun. Ang nilakihan ng komunidad. Sabi ko, if ever there's an opportunity for me na ngayon maging mayor, inisip ko po yung ganyang kali. Ayoko po may ganyang kali. Ayoko po makakita ang mga sa ating lugar. Then it's more on a learning lesson I've learned from the Asian Institute of Management, the Development Management Program, and the Bridging Leadership. And the servant leadership, it helps me a lot. Participatory governance is the name of the game. It's consultative. It's more of the process where you talk to your people, you work with your people, share with your people of things they want and what they want. And that creates the environment. Peaceful, orderly, a prosperous community. And isyo na naman Angono, dati may squatter na, next set eco park na. Yung aming ilog na dating bahain, may mga riverwalk na. Yung highway na dating may squatter, may SM na. So we develop a road network. Ang tawag doon ay Baytown Road, now Guadit Avenue. So going to Angono, Taytay, it's only 10 minutes. Unlike before, 1 hour. Infrastructure, sumunod po siya.
It's very meaningful changes po na ginawa. And we already saw that nung papunta kami dito, naglinis naman po ng mga kasaan, but so nakita naman po namin yung plano niyo po. So moving on to the next question. Does your college degree with communication arts have contributions in handling some circumstances in your role as a leader? And can you provide some examples?
Tingin ko kasi sa communication art, the languages it teach you how to talk, how to work with people. Yung aming interview ng araw, buta kami sa mga may paho, sa kalookan, ang gabi, nag-i-interview kami. Tinuro kami mag-communicate sa tao. And that is the basic tool na siguro involved na ako sa community as a barangay leader. Then plus that course, it helps me a lot.
See, it's good po para sa inyo. So, what changes did you notice in your behavior when you started being the leader of this area?
Well, discipline. Discipline. Alam niyo po ng araw, ang mga addict dito naggala sa kalye. Lahat po ng mga addict dito na sabi ko po doon sa hepe ng police, o hindi na kaya para sa inyo yung mga addict dito, hindi kayo na umalis. Yung na-involve ng kapatid ko, di po yung that. baka mahuli mo sino-sino yan, ay suspected siyang kabarkada ng mga adik. So, nung mother yun umalis, what I did, pinakuha ko na yung kapatid yung pinakulong. To establish seriousness, to establish discipline, that this is the name of the game. Pino naman yung kapatid ko. When I became a mayor, Angono, I awarded po ito ng Anti-Child Abuse Program. National model po. Yung persuasiveness, dialogue, orientation, spiritual, guidance, and binibigyan po sila ng employment. So that is how we assist our victim of drug use in Angono.
That's a very good development for yourself. Tingin ko rin po ginawa na lang yung po sa kapatid ko yun for himself din po.
Yes, para sa kapatid ko yun. Hindi naman siya hinuli ng iba eh. Ako na lang ang nagpapahuli. For reason na kaysa mahuli ng iba.
And sila naman po na welcome po yung mga tao. So, galing po ang mga cases na ginawa. So, the next question po. When you got elected in your position, what did you do or what were your tasks in your first 3 months? Kung naalala.
Yes, first 3 months is rehabilitation of Angono. Cleaning, clearing. It is more on develop volunteerism. Transform the workforce of Angono. Kasi dati ang gobyerno sa loob eh. 8 to 5, napasok, lalabas. Simbahan, palengke, munisipyo. Ay binabot po namin yun. Lahat ng kanya, yung aking mga volunteer, receiving 200, 300. Linis tayo, continuous. Nilinis namin yung tabing dagat. Kinausap namin yung mga tao. Ito ang nangyayari sa atin. Positioning. Where are we now? Where do we want to go and how do we get there? A livable community. How do we go there? So we will develop our mission. Linis muna kami. At ito nga, kung official order, dapat sumunod kayo. So after 3 months, my 100 days, nagkaroon ng puno ng binili sa kalye nito, nagtatraffic sa kalye, hindi lang dahil may contest. Naging habit na po ng bayan na ang labas ay part na yung aming mga volunteer street sweeper, traffic enforcer. So we transform that from that simbahan, palengke, munisipyo.
To the next question. How do you mostly influence your involvements? Is it by warning them or by rewarding them?
Rewarding is one of the issues. Kasi alam niyo po yung aming empleyado nito ng araw, 100, 150, no, I think 300 na sila eh, from volunteer. Ini-incentivize namin sila, baligyan ng opportunity, bibigyan ka permanent. Kaya, imposible mo mapagbigyan lahat. Kasi meron po kaming 2,500 working volunteers, receiving 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Ang importante lang po dito, isama kami ng kapwesto, hindi sila inaalis. Kung nagkasakit ka, binibigyan ka ng 1 year, kayo lang tinataglan mo allowance. So, bonuses, binibigyan namin. Pero one thing, binibigyan namin incentive, the realization of the Angono thing. Paano pala kami nagbuhat?
I mean, parang kayo yung naging reward.
Parang bayanin mo siya Rizal, yung disiplina. Ang tao hindi bloody revolutionary entity. Isa po ay peaceful. Peaceful soldier. Pero out of that expectation na ano yung gusto mo mangyari, kasabay mo sila, gano'n mga volunteer. Kasama natin nagpaganda ng bayan. Masasabi mo kami, tayo. Hindi lang ako. At hindi lang naman po yun ang expectation. Eh dati na po, tindahan sa amin ng araw bago ako mag-bail. Lilima lamang yung sa eskwelahan, isa sa palengke, sa kanto. Eh ngayon mula boundary to boundary, ang daming tindahan. Hindi naman po sila namigyan ng permanente trabaho rito, mga anak nila. bawat bahay naghahanap po. Dati po, wala kami Starbucks. Dati po, wala kami McDo. Yung hamburger stand namin, dinadala pa alas 5 dito. Pagdating ng alas 12, naalis na. Pero dito, yung sinasabi natin sa turismo, angat ang bayan ng Angono. Yung mga ibang turista, umaalis ng gabi. Eh dito po mga turista nag-invest. Nandiyan na po sila. May McDo, may Jollibee, may Kentucky, may Starbucks. Sabi niya Rupa Gutierrez, wala yung Starbucks mo sa pelikula. Pero tingin po namin, iba na po yung aming bayan. Pero sa tingin namin, nag-iba man siya, pero yung disiplina ng tao. Ano pa rin.
So that's very good way of handling the people po. Parang yung naging reward nyo po is yung pagsabay-sabay ng bayan ng Angono. So that's very admirable po sa inyong salita. Next question po tayo. During your years of public service, what were your greatest dilemmas? And how did you deal with it?
Kahit sinong budget. Paano yan? Siyempre, expectation ng tao. Alam nyo, kung nakakuha kasi, mayaman ko. Lahat ng dokotin mo para sa kanila eh. So, yun yung be resource. So, sweldo namin, ibigay. Hanap buhay. Hindi ko umasa sa gobyerno. Tama ako po eh, kabataan pa rin, hindi nagbabawel. Nung mag-conshell ako, may printing service ako. Nagdala supply ako. Supplier ako ng dala. Hindi ko pwede inarto ka, dito ka lang nakaasa. So, you need to balance it in order to achieve expectation of your people.
That's the important aspect of that po. Para po sa inyo, for you which made better contributions in helping you become an effective leader, your intelligence or your personality and value?
Yung intelligence ko, pati na yun ng, hindi naman po ako matalinong tao eh. Ako po grade 1, section 1, section 1. Graduate po ako ng elementary, section 6. Nag-high school po ako, section C. My teacher is my ate. Hindi ako sumasama sa... Ayaw ko nung sabihin sa mga bata. Kung kayo ay nasa section 1, let it be. Pero kung kayo ay nasiseryoso sa section 1, kasi may grade ako nung ano, nasa loob ko ako section 1. Pag kami na ako, yung teacher na kita ay nanay. And there is a case na meron kami nasa row 1, may kaya sila. Naipot. You know what naipot is?
Yes.
Kami tagalinis yung table. Unfair. Unfair. So wala naman, very observant ako mata. Sabi ko, ayaw ka lang. Kailangan sa section 6. Yung teacher namin nagkasakit. Kinaharap kami. Papunta ako sa section 6 and 7, pangsaya. Wala pa yung teacher, pag lumalabas, nagkaano na. Sabi ko, ito gusto. Kaya lang, ang akin po is may learning lesson. Pwede mong gayahin. Kasi it's more on handling of the emotion, handling of the dream. Baka hindi nyo kaya, words at asunod. So it is the handling of your personality, the giving talent. Kung naroon ka sa section 1, enjoy mo na lang. Kung gusto mo mag-enjoy, bumangkada lang sa iba, pero huwag kang pa-improvise sa sama-sama. And the other one is your question is intelligent in my personality. My personality, napaka-observe man ko. Hindi ako tatagay sa extreme. Pero nag-i-illusion niya naman. Pero wala rin wala rin dinulot eh. Yung bang curious ka, tinitignan. Pero wala rin eh. Ang lagi mong titignan, kaya na nakakulong. Pinalaki ka na ng magulang mo, hindi naman nagkulang. Sa kabilaan yung aking tatay, yung babae, yung sa amin. Nanay ko na rin, kaya kami dapat, nag-aabot ng tatay ko, hindi mo isang dahil. Nanay ko, naglalabada, pero kada natin, ang dulo ko yung principal. Tinuruan kami na maging disiplina. So yung personality, may yung nilakihan, it's a choice. May problematic.
So hindi mo po talaga lahat intelligence lang. kailangan po bahay sa first na
Experience. Pero sinasabi ko, huwag kayong bumaon. Kung sa tingin niyo wala, wala pa sa mga magiging loner. Pero ano nga naman din ang kamag-anak. Dala lang yun.
Thank you po for that wonderful lessons. That's good po. Then last question about that. So, for you as a leader, what does it mean to have good communication with your followers, and how do you think it can be achieved?
Very vital yun. Open communication, very vital. Alam niyo po, lalo lang sa Facebook, ako sumasakot doon. Kaya ako minsan, nababasti niya nagbabasa sa amin. Hindi taga-Angono. It's a hands-on management. Open kami dyan. Nakikita kami sa kanya, nagwawalis. We have 300, 500 volunteers mo sila. Nilagay sa aming kanya. Open communication. Kami sumasagot. Kami tinatanong, bukod pa yung mga at alam mo nila yung sa bayan. Napakalala ko rin. Tingin ko ito isa sa dahilan. Kaya ang binagtatagal sa mga system. Nakakausap ko. Katulad ngayon, sekretary mo kausap niyo. Pero ako ka-text mo. Ako diretso. Hindi natakaw kali-kali yung schedule. Yan po kami kadaling kausap.
Thank you po, and this will be the end of our interview. Thank you po again for allowing us to have this interview with you. And napaka-insightful po and meaningful ng mga nalaman na may experience mo galing sa inyo. Thank you po.
Thank you very much. Salamat sa ating alma mater, FEU. Thank you very much.
Thank you po. Take care.